Living in the frigid mountains of Toril, the Goliaths are a race of large humanoids. So let's go over the basics of this race. The Goliaths are a pretty tall race, standing between 2.1 to 2.4 meters. Their eyes most commonly a bright blue or green, and sometimes even glowed. Their skin has the color of the earth, grey or brown, and is extremely tough. Despite what someone might think of the darker patches of skin, these aren't tattoos. These are actually markings comparable to birthmarks, and Goliaths believe that these markings are somehow tied to their destiny. Another thing you might notice on Goliaths are the small bony growth. They have about the same size as a coin and appear like pebbles on their arms, shoulders, torso, or even head, adding to the thought that Goliath are somehow connected to the earth. Now, in talking about the Goliath's personality, the first thing we should mention is their competitiveness. Dwarves are competitive, but this larger mountain folk really take the cake. Keeping track of all their accomplishments, they see everything as a challenge. Traveling with a Goliath might even get you annoyed at how they constantly remind everyone around them how many times a certain thing had happened. To outsiders, this might make the Goliath come off as arrogant. This really isn't the case, however. To the larger mountain folk, scorekeeping is a natural part of life and isn't meant to belittle anyone. The Goliath's biggest rival, however, is themselves. Beating their own records or accomplishments is the biggest victory a Goliath can achieve. Obviously, they are also competitive towards other Goliath, but never arrogant or cocky in doing so. An admirable trait among the Goliath is also the fact that they have little time for cheaters, gloaters, or sore losers. If a Goliath loses in a fair fight, they never hold a grudge. They are of the mindset that today's rival is tomorrow's teammate. Here's the downside to all of this, however. Since they always try to outdo their own achievements, this means that many Goliath either die due to how insane their achievements would get, or they start to feel dissatisfied by how they no longer add up to their younger self. This means that it is very rare for a Goliath to retire or live to an old age. Those that are permanently injured or old often seek death in battle or in solace, as opposed to living a life where they can no longer achieve greatness. Especially in a tribe. All tribes members are expected to pull their weight. Those that cannot often leave the tribe, and what fate has in store for them happens. The two main aspects of most Goliath are trust and honor. This means that most Goliath tend to be good. Combining this with their competitive nature often leads them to do valorous heroics. Even Goliath that were more inclined to magic still trained their body in case their powers ever went away. Goliath are notably daring and fearless. Feats of physical strength or even agility like jumping over chasms hold no fear for Goliaths. They are naturally curious beings and as such love to explore. Despite the Goliath's competitive nature, bravery and strong physique, they are known to actually avoid danger and would rather move out of an unsafe area than to confront the residing danger. This isn't done due to hidden cowardice, but mostly because they realize that the unnecessary loss of life is detrimental to the group. Their fearlessness would prove itself if the tribe did indeed get forced to go to war. Any able-bodied member of the tribe will join the fight, regardless of sex and/or gender. Only children and infants are socially accepted to refrain from the fight. The distribution of weapons and appointing of war captains is done swiftly, and as most Goliaths are usually at the peak of their physical condition, they make for a very fast and capable warband. Goliaths have the advantage of having very durable and strong skin, which means that they can get away much easier with wearing their preferred leather armor as to not hinder their movements as much. Most of them also prefer to wield two-handed weapons to decimate their adversaries, making the most of their considerable strength. Even in war, however, the Goliath are known to favor fair play, and when certain they would win, they would even handicap themselves to give their opponent a fair chance. For example, if they managed to disarm their opponent, they themselves would toss aside their weapon and continue to fight with their bare hands. Cheating or cowardice is absolutely unacceptable. Finishing off a downed opponent, taking hostages or attacking civilians are considered unfair and distasteful. As said before, Goliath live in tribes. These tribes are made up of about 3 to 5 extended families and usually consists of about 40 to 60 Goliaths. There are some key roles to these tribes. The chieftain, who makes the decision when to move to new lands and appoints the other key roles. The captains, 2 that are appointed for each job every morning to oversee the rest of the Goliath. The reason there are 2 every time is to encourage healthy competition. Skywatcher, often the most experienced druid or shaman. They oversee that the animals aren't hunted into extinction for food, resources aren't overharvested, and oversee festivals and rituals. The Dawn Watcher is something like the Night Watch, who will alert the camp during the night at any sign of trouble. Then there's the Adjudicator, the Goliath that mediates in case of disputes. Next up is the Tent Mother, the only sex-related job. They oversee the children while the parents are out doing their jobs for the tribe. Lastly, there are the Lamenters, probably the most difficult task. They have to decide when another member of the tribe has become too old or sick to contribute and bring their decision to the chieftain. When decided, they will prepare a chant to commemorate the Goliath before exiling them. Chieftains only remain chieftains for as long as they are fit to fulfill this duty, and any other Goliath may challenge a chieftain at any given time. This makes it so chieftains change frequently within a tribe. When the chieftain is defeated, they are immediately exiled from the tribe. Culture and traditions vary from tribe to tribe, though some similarities can be found. For example, art. Despite their competitiveness, Goliaths appreciate the fact that art has no competitive nature to it at all. Their free time is also often filled with sports, where their competitive nature shines again. Goat ball, stubborn root, and cliff climb being among their favorite pastimes. Now for a Goliath's name, this usually consists of 3 parts. The first being the name given to them by their parents, then an honorary name given by the chieftain, and lastly their tribe name. The first name is often very short. The second name can even change depending on achievements or failures. And the third name is usually a bit longer. For example, Aruk Bearkiller Gathakanathi. Now when it comes to the other races, Goliaths are friendly towards anyone that doesn't threaten their tribe. They are known to have great respect for dwarven blacksmiths, and will even seek them out for trade. Human rangers or druids sometimes even join the Goliath on the hunt, both benefiting from this temporary alliance. Goliath are wary, however, of orcs and goblins, mostly because of the stories they have heard of them. Most Goliaths worship nature and the primal forces, with few of them that worship gods. It is unclear, however, how old the Goliath race actually is, as some believe they are related to stone giants or earth genasi. Now if you want to learn more basics of Dungeons & Dragons lore, make sure to subscribe and check out my previous video about the Celestial Touched Aasimar. And as always, thank you for watching.